A friend writes to me, there's something foreign looming on the horizon, and we can only guess that it will shape us entirely one day.
2013 is really when it took off. The police department came up with more than 400 individuals who were most likely to be prone to violence, either as a victim or a perpetrator, and they were chosen through mathematical algorithms.
A prediction is being made about something an individual has not yet done but is going to do. And a preemptive arrest is made of someone before they've performed an act.
Who is that good for? Is it good for the streets or is it good for the police?
They haven't told us what the algorithm is that they're using to identify people. There's no way to get off the list once you're on it.
It's the securitization of our society. It's not aiming to a certain future. The future is already in the present right now.
What about when they got your son? When they got your daughter, your child, when it's you, it don't affect nobody until it come knocking on your door.
I think we're at the very beginning of a very big conversation.
An anonymous tip comes in. 2 p.m., 2 kilos, 2 street names. Enough info to get squads on the ground and eyes in the sky.
Okay, we've got a visual on the drop. 2 Hispanic males, late 20s.
We're tracking with SMV now. Looks like our buyers are on time, too.
It's a standard checkmate. Each piece positioned carefully on the board, ready to move in for the bust.
Okay, they're making the switch. Stand by to move in.
But an unknown player just entered the game. Order turns to chaos, and all the pieces scatter.
Shots fired, repeat, shots fired. We've got 2 hit and runners in all directions.
Keep the bird on the shooter. Mason, try and spot the runners as best you can. Damn it. We need more eyes in the sky here.
From here, it's a matter of cutting losses, focus resources on the gunman, and hope for a clean takedown.
He's headed towards the blocks on 5th, and looks like he's ditched the weapon and is crossing the track on us.
Please get out down the road!
Okay, everyone. Good work on the shooter. Well, we came up empty on the other 3 suspects. Got no idea where they came from or where they went. And that means we've got 2 kilos of something floating around out there, and we've got no idea where. Let's hit the streets hard today, try to dig up some answers. That's the best we got.
But that's not how the story has to end. Today's aerial intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR, is often limited to full-motion video from one point of view. Imagine being able to additionally monitor high-resolution imagery that can cover up to 64 square kilometers in near real time. Northrop Grumman's AirClaw is defining the next generation of persistent surveillance systems, combining the latest ISR technologies into one affordable surveillance and multi-mission operations capability that can be tailored to meet specific customer needs. Based on the rugged Quest Kodiak platform, AirClaw's fixed-wing attributes offer superior performance and cost savings compared to traditional rotary-wing platforms. AirClaw operates at a less conspicuous 6,000 to 10,000 feet, while slowly loitering at 75 to 100 knots. Minimal runway space is needed, and mission endurance is increased to 8 hours. AirClaw decreases operational cost while greatly increasing multi-intelligence capabilities. AirClaw's FLIR Sapphire electro-optical infrared gimbal provides the real-time full-motion video, low-light and thermal imagery law enforcement officers are accustomed to using. But AirClaw's distinct advantage is a result of the system's multi-intelligence capabilities, integrated through an onboard mission command system and downlinked to a tactical edge command node. The addition of a second sensor for wide area motion imagery, or WAMI, enables unprecedented surveillance for pre-event forensics, tracking targets in real time, and post-event forensics. WAMI's 192-megapixel 12-camera array collects ortho-rectified imagery at 1 frame per second with the resolution to view individual pedestrians. This allows the onboard operator and multiple stations on the ground to survey from 25 to 64 square kilometers based on individual or vehicular resolution. There is also a survey mode for progressive collection along borders and other more linear features. Called in to support our scenario, AirClaw would have the WAMI technology to track multiple targets at once, conducting onboard tracking in coordination with the FLIR and integrated with command posts on the ground. Now able to develop pre- and post-event forensic data, analysts stitch together a comprehensive timeline of each individual's whereabouts and actions before and after the event. This enables the collection of an unprecedented amount of information, critical to both real-time response and dissecting the details of a case. AirClaw's upgraded radio suite includes UHF and P25 support, enabling direct coordination with first responders. The data collected and stored on board is disseminated via a tactical data link, enabling the officer on the ground to conduct reliable command and control, relocate assets, and make critical decisions on the fly.
Roger.
Northrop Grumman's AirClaw is the next generation in cost-effective, persistent aerial surveillance. By seamlessly integrating these customizable multi-intelligence sensors into specific law enforcement operations, AirClaw will transform the way agencies approach, conduct, and review missions while ultimately improving their outcomes.
As you know, yesterday we apprehended every player in the Jefferson Park case. Now, those 4 arrests have generated some major leads, and AirClaw Forensics has retraced each suspect's step prior to the shooting. Now, there's a lot to go on here, and you all have your individual assignments. Now, let's get out there and take down this network. AirClaw will be back in the air, keeping an eye on the action. Let's move out.
We are learning more tonight about a new way the government has been spying on you in the name of national security. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is here with shocking details. Good evening, Catherine.
Well, thank you, Brett. The program run by the U.S. Marshals Service under the Department of Justice relies on a fleet of Cessnas equipped with a piece of technology known in law enforcement circles as a dirt box. While it collects phone data on criminal suspects on the ground, in the process, privacy rights advocates say it picks up the phone calls of law-abiding Americans. As first reported by the Wall Street Journal, these surveillance operations are also known as man-in-the-middle attacks because a cell phone looks for the closest transmission tower and the dirt box carried on a Cessna mimics the same signal, fooling the cell phone into reporting its data before it connects with a legitimate cell tower run by one of the major phone carriers. The technology was developed by the military intelligence community 2 decades ago for collecting communications overseas, and experts who support technology to detect and block surveillance say the same technology is now being used domestically.
The FBI has been secretly flying over our homes right here in the valley with equipment designed to track phone calls and record video. ABC's Nick Van Sant is live in Deer Valley at the airport there in Phoenix. And Nick, what were those planes specifically looking for?
Well, you know, we asked FBI officials that, and they would not say exactly what they were looking for every time that they were flying over a valley city and how many times they flew. They also won't say, but we know that they operated this program out of this airport for years, each time using a plane that was capable of capturing data from thousands of people at a time.
You have new challenges today. sensitive data is transmitted over encrypted channels. Often the information you want is not transmitted at all. Your target may be outside your monitoring domain. Is passive monitoring enough? You need more. You want to look through your target's eyes. You have to hack your target. You have to hit many different platforms. You have to overcome encryption and capture relevant data. Being stealth and untraceable. Deployed all over your country. Exactly what we do. Remote Control System Galileo. The hacking suite for governmental interception. Rely on us.
First, the metadata program amounts to a general warrant, the use of which by the English played a key role in the American Revolution and led directly to the Fourth Amendment. A general warrant was a writ. It was issued by a court, it did not expire, and it allowed officials to collect information to search anywhere without any particularized suspicion. In 1760, the British Prime Minister, William Pitt, directed colonial governors to use these writs of assistance to crack down on illegal behavior. James Otis famously challenged them as the worst instrument of arbitrary power. And John Adams later wrote that this oration breathed life into this nation. Then and there, John Adams reported, was the first scene of the first act of opposition to the arbitrary claims of Great Britain. Then and there, the child independence was born. The Virginia Declaration of Rights subsequently included a clause outlawing general warrants. Similar language was adopted by Massachusetts and New Hampshire in their state constitutions, and later the ratifying conventions, the most important ones, New York, Virginia, and North Carolina. They required that a prohibition on general warrants be incorporated into the Bill of Rights. James Madison wrote the Fourth Amendment to prevent the use of general warrants. They were the definition of unreasonable search and seizure. The Fisk Order, authorizing the telephony metadata program, is a general warrant. It authorizes the government to collect and then to rummage through our papers and effects in the hope of finding wrongdoing. There is no prior suspicion of criminal activity, and almost none of the information obtained actually relates to illegal behavior. The government's argument could be extended to any sort of metadata: email, banking records, financial transactions, and internet use. The extent to which we rely on electronic communications to conduct our lives is fundamentally different in scale and scope than what happened in 1979, and the NSA would do this indefinitely. Americans reasonably expect that their movements, communications, and decisions will not be recorded and analyzed by the government. A majority of the Supreme Court seems to agree. At a minimum, Justice Scalia wrote, the 18th century guarantee against unreasonable searches must provide the degree of protection it afforded when it was adopted. The protection against the general use of warrants thus stands. The government argues that the NSA's telephony metadata program is consistent with the statute in that all telephone calls in the United States, including those of a wholly local nature, are relevant to foreign intelligence investigations. The use of the word relevant here is so absurd as to render the term and the qualifying statutory language meaningless. No grand jury or court would allow the bulk collection of all Americans' metadata. It is illegal to use subpoenas for fishing expeditions. Subpoenas, moreover, are specific. They relate to a particular individual or crime, and they deal with current or past bad behavior. The metadata program, in contrast, is broad, non-specific, forward-looking, not tied to a crime, and looks to anticipate future acts. The system, in my view, is badly broken. The NSA is engaging in activities that are illegal and unconstitutional.
This is the new world, and right now, the policymakers haven't really thought through the consequences. They haven't figured out how do privacy laws adapt. And it's important, I think, to ask these questions now.
What about when they got your son? When they got your daughter, your child, when it's you? It don't affect nobody until it come knocking on your door.
I think we're at the very beginning of a very big conversation.